All right, it's been a while since we recapped Lakers Warriors. We talked after game 1. They lost. We didn't talk after game 2. They won. Then they lost game 3. And now we're back. And it was a close battle. It was probably the best game in the series so far, I would say. Lakers beat the Warriors to go up 3-1. And we know that this is not a good ratio here for teams to come back 3-1. Though the Warriors have done it once in the Western Conference Finals, and they've had it done to them in the NBA Finals. But quick thoughts or your instant reaction before we get to the major takeaways.
I'd say the instant reaction is that it feels like they just lost a game that they really should have won.
And they
I felt
needed
like
it was like a
not only did they
desperate
need
game.
it, not only did they need it, but the free throw disparity was a lot closer. Draymond wasn't in foul trouble, and you have that type of Steph game. It just felt like that was a game you couldn't drop.
Yeah, I guess my early reaction or my instant reaction would be simply that they got a lot of guys who don't want to shoot the basketball. And that was very apparent tonight. The starting lineup, they went to GP2 to start the game. And actually that will be we'll go through takeaways now, because the first takeaway is, whatever the juju, the magic, whatever it was for Kerr today, it wasn't really there. Like, he was able to do it in the Kings series where, he would adjust and then they would have to adjust to him. But in this series, every adjustment, save for the Jermichael Green adjustment in game 2, which, I mean, Jermichael Green hit like 2 corner threes, and that was literally it. Everything that he's tried to do has not really worked. And so GP2 was the change in this lineup to kind of stop D'Angelo, which they stopped him. D'Angelo didn't even play in the fourth quarter, from what I remember. But it exposed other stuff. One of those being they didn't have to guard Gary. They didn't have to guard Draymond. So for the Warriors to actually get open shots, they're playing 3-on-5. And that was apparent, and it kept the pace down. It kept the score down. A lot of hard shots by Steph to get to 31 points. Clay may have had the one of the worst games I think I've ever seen him play, in which he just didn't take irresponsible shots. Like, he didn't even shoot that much. He couldn't get a shot off.
I thought he
And
took irresponsible shots down
well, the 2 in the fourth
the
quarter
last
late,
two.
but it almost seemed like they were set up for him. Like, they wanted him to get to, because I think they get more energy out of him hitting a big shot than anybody else, and it just was not going to happen.
Like who? Yeah, and yeah. Yeah, he only took 9 shots. It felt like I was going to go to the box score and see like a 17 shot Clay game, but no, it was
No.
only 9 shots. 3 made 3 of them. But man, like I don't know. I don't know what I prefer, the shot chucking Clay or the super quiet offensive Clay. It just
Well,
feels, where's the middle?
I would prefer the shot chucking Clay, because what it would mean is that he could get free. And what this game is he couldn't shake free. I don't know if he's tired. He's got he's been playing hard on defense, and they've needed him to. But, LeBron was not afraid to go right at him and at Steph. Like, that was the design by LeBron was, let's get the switch. And as long as I have Clay and as long as I have Steph, I'm good. And he just went down the stretch. That was the move. It's a little sad. And this is kind of what happens when teams get a little old, is that you start to see the age in some of it. And with Clay, I thought we saw it a lot tonight. He was 3 for 11, but 3 for 9 from 3. He was still a +2. I mean, that's where we kind of talk about how that plus minus gets a little murky. Draymond a -10. So it just, the things that we enjoy about Clay, the things that we expect out of Clay, things that we love about Clay, he couldn't do it. And it wasn't for lack of trying. It was for lack of being unable to beat the defense. And I don't know, Austin Reeves was on him in some sets late. I don't know who was guarding him late because the focus was so much on Steph, but that's what we thought, right? In the Sacramento series, we thought, okay, focus on Steph. Clay's going to be open. And you kind of feel the same way here. But when you play a lineup where they don't care about Moody, they don't care about Draymond, Clay's not going to get open either because they're playing 5-on-3. So it's just, this whole thing has been a great chess match. And I don't think Darvin Ham, as a young coach, is making like these super technical adjustments. I think he just trusts his two best players and he's playing them as much as humanly possible. And you let LeBron kind of do it out on the court and coach on the court. And it's been really interesting to see. It kind of feels a little bit like a deja vu from 2016. That's what tonight's game felt like to me. Was one of the 2016 finals games where you're like, okay, the Warriors are there, they're there, and then LeBron's going to make a good play and he's going to help them win the game.
I mean, it feels like if Lonnie Walker does not have that fourth quarter, it really feels like the Warriors win. Then you're forcing,
they win going away.
Yeah, like it really was this just like out of body experience from their ninth man off the bench or their ninth man in the rotation, a guy who got a lot of run in the beginning of the season, but once they made those key trades in the middle of the season, he hit the bench and he hasn't really found a spot in the rotation. I don't think he played against Memphis. He didn't play in like games 1, and I think he played in game 2 just because we blew him out. Like,
Garbage
this is a
time.
guy who haven't been able to find his spot in the rotation, and he just comes in and scores 13 in the fourth quarter. They were relying on him. Like, that's just, I don't think I've ever seen something like that, especially in a playoff game, in a must-win game. Like, a home crowd is crazy, but like that was something else.
You got to be a really diehard plus or minus fan like me to even remember this quote. But when the Lakers signed Lonnie Walker, Tim Kawakami said something to the effect of, yeah, he's just not a Warriors kind of player because, he doesn't play any defense. Like that, the Warriors would never make that signing. He said something like that. He was really down on this Lonnie Walker signing. And, as I'm watching this happen, I'm thinking about Tim's quote, and he's right. The Warriors as a team, as a franchise, as a strategy for this culture, they don't really go after guys like him. And plus, when you have Jordan, you can't have a Lonnie Walker because they just not, unless you just force Jordan into being a playmaker. Like, Lonnie Walker's not making plays. Lonnie Walker's there to shoot stand-up jumpers. And as I'm watching it, I'm going like, man, what an opposite reaction to what the Warriors currently have, in that Lonnie Walker's like, give me the ball, ISO me on Steph. I'm taller than him. I'm longer than him. I'm going to shoot over him, and I'm not going to be afraid. And on the Warriors end, they had GP2 too scared to shoot, turns it into a turnover, and that really kicked off the Lakers' run when the Warriors were up, whatever they were up in the fourth quarter. GP2's turnover gets the Lakers running a fast break. I think then they get it down to like 6 or 4. And then we never saw GP again. And I was trying to, I think I was texting you and Ben, and I was like, you can't play Jordan. And Steve didn't. You can't play GP because he's too afraid to shoot. What do? Do you just go Moody? And that's what they did. And this is a lineup that you actually really liked. Draymond, Wiggins, Moody, Clay, and Steph. What did you think about that lineup?
The only reason I pitched it to start the series that as I just listened to a couple podcasts, I think Sam Amick, the Tampering Show with Anthony Slater and Fred Katz, they brought on Jovan Buha, who's the Lakers beat writer, and they kind of came to the conclusion that the Lakers are going to guard Steph and Clay. They're going to go out to them, but that third guy is going to be wide open. Whether they're going to guard Wiggins too, whether it's Jordan Poole, whether it's Moody, whether it's whoever that guy is, like they're going to make that guy earn their respect from the 3-point line. And I just thought that the reason I pitched that lineup was like, okay, like I trust in Moody as a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. I think that he could fill that spot. He plays good defense. He moves the ball well. He tries hard, and he could shoot the 3. It just felt like that could be like a turning point or a little sneaky lineup they could use. And yeah, I felt like it was coming I thought that that's what the start was going to be. I tweeted after game 3 that I thought they might think to start Moody. And honestly, it feels like they should have. But maybe that'll be the adjustment for the next game. They found it. They'll start with Moody. I don't know. I wasn't a total downer on the GP2 minutes up until it felt like the Lakers started getting momentum, up until it felt like the crowd started getting into it, and then GP2 started not wanting to shoot. He was good. It feels like to open the half, and those first quarter minutes up until he had to yak, like it felt okay at least. Like I don't know. I just think that maybe you could go the 2 non-shooters. I don't think you should go 2 non-shooters, but if you go 2 non-shooters, do it at home or do it before there's momentum. So GP2 doesn't butt cheek and not want to shoot.
So if you look at his box score, 15 points, making layups when the Warriors are running, they were finding him. But then, when it comes to crunch time and you have those similar plays set up and you want to pass out of them, those are just as backbreaking as the 15 points were successful for them. And this is not only on GP2. Draymond, at least 2 or 3 times, he had a possible layup, maybe gets fouled to go to the free throw line, and then he throws it away. There was one, he threw to Wiggins. It was too high, bounced off of Wiggins' hands. The last play of the game for the Warriors offensively, where they tried to run that play, the fake handoff to Steph. Draymond drives. He's indecisive. He doesn't have a lane. And instead of just trying to go up and score, he flails, he throws it away. And this is all because these guys don't want to shoot the basketball. And it's so crazy to have a team where Steph Curry and Klay Thompson just the clutch of the clutch, and you have guys on the team who are like, this is not going to be me. And that's the frustrating part, because the reason why this offense works, the reason why Steph has so much gravity, is because it opens up stuff for other guys. And if you are unwilling to shoot the ball and to take advantage of that, you are playing right into the defense. And that was Draymond at the end of the game. I can only guess that he didn't want to get fouled. He didn't want to go to the free throw line. He didn't want to be the one missing whatever the shot is. But I mean, if you're watching this game, Steph doesn't really have open shots. He's creating open shots, but he's 12 for 30 shooting. And the other guy, Klay, is 3 for 11. So if you're Draymond, your mentality has to be, I got to help these guys out. I got to get to the rim. And the one opportunity he has to get to the rim and draw a foul, he bails out of it. And that didn't cost them the game, because I think they were down 1 at that point. But it's plays like that, and then the GP2 one, which gets him on the bench. It's plays like that lose a series, because you can't have only 2 guys willing to run the offense and to shoot. What makes this scenario harder for Draymond than other opportunities where he was willing to go coast to coast and, right up with LeBron, and, he made several layups today. So it's just those kind of things. You're just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of the stuff that loses series. And, if you're them, you go, it's 3-1. You have every thought in the world that you can do it. But what has Klay's excuse been after every game that he's played terrible in? Watch tape. I'll be better. I'll be ready. He was not. And it's some of it is the defense, right? It's not all him. They bottled him up because Steve Kerr is unwilling to, put 4 shooters around Draymond. And I don't even know who the 4th would be. I guess tonight it could have been DiVincenzo. Maybe he the guy.
Solid.
But, he did throw that inbounds away, right?
That's what started the momentum, is what it felt like.
And they got the layup. So then he gets sat on the bench, and Kerr's just like, I don't trust this. Then you can't trust GP. You already don't trust Jordan. So then it becomes Moody. And
they played solid.
I thought Moody was good, but the thing about Moody is he cannot make the other team pay, because he's not going to just be a player to go sit in the corner, right? That's just
He and
not.
he didn't though. You
But
know, like a couple of those fast breaks where I think you have Clay peeling off to the right, Steph driving down, LeBron's in the paint, Moody's diving to the paint, and LeBron chooses 3-pointer Clay over wide open Moody in the paint. I thought he did a little more than just sit in the corner, but they also he had wide open looks that they just didn't find him. Like I was watching and like okay, you have Moody out there who's the catch and shoot 3-point guy. Like I get maybe not trusting him in this moment, but hell, he's wide open. If you don't trust him, don't play him.
Well,
I trust him. I trust him to hit a catch and shoot 3 right now. Like there was a point in the middle of the season where it felt like he was in a slump, but he's been hitting his wide open catch and shoot 3s. Like it feels like he has a solid percentage. He just doesn't shoot that many of them.
Yeah. So, but the point is that they don't trust him, right? Like Steph tried to bait LeBron into committing, and then he fired a fastball to Moody in the corner. LeBron tipped it and went out of bounds. I was dying to see if Moody was going to hit that shot because it felt like
he was taking it.
He was
like he wasn't going to pass out of it.
But I think Kerr has an interesting relationship with this current team. We watched the whole regular season. Didn't trust Wiseman, so Wiseman doesn't play. He kind of trusts Kuminga, but Kuminga can't just shoot open threes because he doesn't want him to. Yet, you bring in JaMychal Green and you let him take wide open threes as if that is his job. And you're telling the young kid that he can't do that because he's not going to make them. And I guarantee you Kuminga would have shot them. He may not have made them, but he would not have been afraid to shoot them, right? So Kerr's got an interesting relationship. Steph, Dre, Clay, the Loon, they'll go to war for Kerr, right? Because of the way that he coaches. But, these other guys, Moody, Kuminga, their minutes are so up and down. JaMychal Green didn't play, and now all of a sudden he's playing. Gary's in and out. DiVincenzo's in and out. Nobody's really got consistent minutes outside of their starting 5. So when it comes to moments like this, and you don't trust Jordan, and you don't trust Gary, and you don't trust JaMychal, and you don't trust Loon, and it's like, who's up? Who's next? And it's just a bunch of guys that you never wanted to put in these situations in the regular season, and now you're expecting them to come through. What did you think about Jordan's game today, though? Because that's the one that people are going to circle. Like, you can't blame Jordan for this game. We can maybe lay some blame on the last game, right? But you can't do it here. Like, he barely got to play.
It's crazy because I've been on Jordan Poole's case all season, and since the playoffs, when everyone's been getting on him, I felt the need to defend him, and I still feel the need to defend him. I think Marcus is right. What Marcus Thompson was saying on Plus Minus is like, when there's a list of things you blame before you get to Jordan Poole in most of these situations. Clay's game tonight was another. You point to Clay to blame before you point to Jordan Poole, and there is something's up with Jordan. I don't know if it's an injury. I don't know if it's injury. I don't know what's going on with him, but this is clearly not the guy we saw in the regular season.
He looks absolutely uncoachable if I'm just watching facial expressions and coming out of the game. He just looks like he just looks like he gets taken out of the game, makes a face. He's talking to somebody on the sidelines, and he's just like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm just like, bro, you are 0 for 4 shooting and a -6 in 10 minutes.
The one thing I will say about Jordan, I was getting on his case all year about defensive effort, was mainly what I was getting on him about. I didn't think you'd be able to rattle him like this.
Yeah.
And it feels like he's been rattled. It felt rattled. And it's just, I don't know. It's almost like a writer's block for him, or just like a classic slump. Like he's just in his own head or something. But I mean, I feel like we're leading into one of those, some people get on Tim Kawakami's case when he does like a thing where he's like, yeah, I knew right from when this happened that this wasn't going to work. But it's like, dude, you were on James Wiseman. You love James Wiseman up until, and then now it's like, oh, you knew James Wiseman was going to be a bust. It feels like it's gonna be something like, oh yeah, I knew the Warriors didn't have a chance when those reports that felt like a lot of players in the locker room were getting unhappy with their playing time. Like I feel like I haven't seen this in the Kerr regime as much. It's like it feels like we have 4 guys right now that are just unhappy in the locker room about their playing time, about how they're getting utilized. Kuminga, Jordan Poole, Jermichael Green before he got the start. DiVincenzo, like Moody's. I feel like Moody's pretty doesn't totally say something about it. He's pretty to himself guy, but that I feel like that's something we haven't seen in this in this Kerr era. But he is dealing with a lot of younger guys than he's probably used to. But no, there's a lot of guys who seem very upset. And if there is something like, I feel like you were kind of hinting that Kerr might not have the full attention of the locker room, but I think there is something there where it's like, okay, yeah, that's what it was. We can't get anything out of anyone because no one trusts anyone.
I just think it's a hard thing when, I mean, I imagine, you go back to 2015, David Lee probably wasn't happy that Draymond took his spot, right? Andre Iguodala was probably not happy that Harrison Barnes started over him the second that Kerr got there. But Andre is, he's such a team leader that
And
he was.
also winning changes.
Yeah, and those moves were right. Those were the right moves because they won with those moves. Now, we may look back on this Wiseman thing, and I was kind of joking with you and Ben, going like, "Can we get Wiseman back for Gary?" Because I didn't think Gary really had a role in this series because of the way that they treat him shooting. You look at Vanderbilt. The Lakers didn't even really play him tonight for that reason. They were like, we're going to need someone to hit big shots tonight. It's not going to be you. They didn't even trust Rui, who's like the greatest 3-point shooter in the history of of this playoffs. And they went to Lonnie Walker to get these tough twos. And the Warriors didn't have a guy to do that. They didn't have anybody who could get one-on-one and create a shot for himself. Even Steph couldn't do it tonight. He was working really hard to do it, but everything that he put up was contested. And you could just see when he has to get that extra arc on the basketball, you can tell he's just kind of out of his flow and he's being hurried and he's being interrupted. You were hoping that it was going to come from Clay, but I don't know. Pretty much from the beginning of the game, he just did not have a ton of energy in him. And it looked like, but at the same time, at the end, I was kind of hoping like, you know what, maybe this is just setting him up to hit a big shot. And then it kind of keys off the run. And I think they were hoping it just wasn't there.
Was that play for Clay that Draymond, like, I haven't seen a bad ATO like that from Kerr, it feels like, in a while. We saw that amazing one against the Pistons that we were in person for, where Clay hit the fade, and then Sadiq Bey just won the game for them. That one was a miss.
I think they knew exactly what was coming.
It's LeBron, man. LeBron is.
I'm sure we'll see that. We'll see that at some point. We'll see that it was LeBron knowing exactly what they were going to run.
LeBron. I feel like LeBron ended up with like a solid stat, like a pretty good stat line, and maybe the efficiency in shooting wasn't all that great, but it honestly feels like his numbers and his I don't know, production isn't necessarily what killed us. It still feels like he can do his thing, and I still feel like we have a good chance of winning if we shut down Anthony Davis. It feels like LeBron's on-court coaching where he's jumping passing lanes and he's telling players what to expect from the Warriors because he knows that this is the team he's probably played the most times in his the past 7 years.
Yep. He was the director. He was guiding the symphony, or however you want to call it. Like, that's what he was doing. And it's funny because I'm in my Fight Game Media Discord. There's a few Laker fans, and one of them, my buddy Anthony, he was like, yeah, LeBron's picking on Steph. And I was like, he did. He very much wanted Steph and Clay ISO, but he couldn't just score on them. Like, he can't really do that anymore. He got a couple fouls for sure. He got to free throw line, but he was doing that to create stuff off of that for his team. He was not doing that to go one-on-one because that wasn't his role in this. It hasn't been his role in this series. Like you said, he is not efficient scoring the basketball. So he knows, okay, I'm going to do this to create the mismatch, and that means that they're scrambling elsewhere, and they're worried specifically about coming to double. And when they come to double, and we saw this a couple times, because what happens is, so LeBron gets Steph or Clay, and then Dre is on AD, and he's got to help when LeBron makes his move. He's got to help, which opens up AD. And there were opportunities there. And then Wiggins is on the other side, and Wiggins is kind of hedging to help double AD. And then LeBron is looking to throw that cross-court pass to Wiggins' guy for the open three. And they did that a couple times. I thought it was pretty interesting offense. And, it's like I said, it's just a chess match. And the Warriors' chess pieces on this chessboard, they're so one or the other. It's either they're just in there for defense, or they're just in there for rebounding, like Loon, or like Jordan, they're supposed to just be there for offense, and he just doesn't have it. So they're not a very well-rounded team, but their main five guys kind of help create that. And when Wiggins has been good, but he hasn't been great like last playoffs. And I guess we couldn't really expect it from him. But if he was great like last year's playoffs, I think they would have got out of LA with a split.
Yeah. I think some positives you could take away from this, though. It feels like there's not much. I don't know if you saw, on a kind of on a different note, there's a video out there of this corgi. Have you seen it?
Oh, who like shoots the ball and
like it's been like a TikTok trend since I think TikTok came out. That corgi's been doing the same thing where it just like it like knocks a ball in the air into two bins, and one of like the Lakers or the Warriors or any other two teams playing each other, and it predicts, in quotation marks, it predicts what the series is going to turn out to be. And the corgi is 4-0 right now in this series. It predicted that the Warriors would be down 3-1, and it predicted that the Warriors would come back from 3-1 and win the series.
Oh my
So
gosh.
a lot of people are pointing at that as something that's kind of
that's funny.
like, who knows? But I think on a positive note, like I feel like you found something in DiVincenzo. I think he's got to get more playing time. I think that they found something in Moody. I think you got to expect a Clay game in game 5 and game 6. Like you need that. And I think we said this after game 1, and they didn't do it. They didn't listen to us, and it worked out for them. I think you got to try Kuminga.
Okay, so that was going to be my next point.
You want me to tell you what minutes I'm taking away?
Well, can you just put him in? Like, can you just put him in cold? He hasn't touched a basketball in non-garbage time. It's in how long?
There was a point in time where it was this season, and it was around Christmas break. I think there was a stretch of games where it was like Charlotte or Atlanta, some home games, and he was just, we talk about him, and he gets talked about in plus minus, that you need to be able to play him stretches of minutes for him to feel comfortable. You have to deal with some of his mistakes so he can be good, and like he can warm up to the game. Minute guy is kind of what I've been hearing lately. And I just remember during when he wasn't a staple in the rotation yet, when he was still trying to find some minutes in the rotation, literally still this year around Christmas break, he was a spot minute guy, and he was getting thrown in there to be a high energy defense guy, a high energy run the fast break dunker spot guy. I'm like, why can't he be that right now? Why can't they try that? Why can't they take away some of when they go away from AD and they try to do a LeBron or a Rui Hachimura small ball 5, why can't he play in those? Why does it need to be Looney? Or, like I think that there are some opportunities to try him in this series. And if it doesn't work, like I feel like Kerr will pull the trigger early, and that might not be the greatest decision, but I mean, they are down 3-1. But if it works, I feel like it really, really works, especially in a home game.
Yeah. My worry is you throw the kid in there. He's so cold. He doesn't play well. Kerr immediately takes him out.
Yeah, that's a total possibility.
And then it's like
His confidence is shot for the entire rest of the series, maybe the entire rest of the playoffs.
and I don't think that this is the case, but there's a reason why he's not playing, right? There's got to be a reason.
Well,
And
I think he just doesn't. I think that the Lakers have, it mainly feels like in this playoffs, like teams, so far the Kings and the Lakers have kind of made the Warriors a pay for going non-shooters over shooters. And I mean, game 7 against the Kings, we did go 2 non-shooters with Looney and Draymond, and we killed them. But then again, the Lakers specifically feels like they are really making us hurt off of these 2 non-shooter lineups.
that's what they did all season long. The Warriors knew exactly what the game plan was.
And because of that, it just feels like Kuminga's just the easy odd man out, because you got to go Draymond, you got to go Looney, and you got to go GP2. That leaves him out.
Corner 3, your life is on the line. Do you want
Kuminga.
GP2 shooting it? Do you want JaMychal Green shooting it? Or do you want Kuminga shooting it?
I think there's factors here. Where am I? Am I at Staples or am I at
just at the park, man. You just shoot corner 3 for your life.
I bet you GP2 and pickup basketball is like an offensive maniac. I bet he's one of those guys where it's like he's hitting fadeaway jumpers, but when it gets to the league, he's like can't do it. I think I'd trust Kuminga just because he's got a solid percentage. I think I said on this podcast, it felt like when the ball was getting swung around and it got to him as a catch and shoot, he didn't have to create that opportunity. He just got it in a catch and shoot position. I think he shot like 37% on catch and shoot this year.
That's why I think it has to be more than just his play. It's got to be attitude. It's got to be unwillingness to be ready. It's got to be something like that for the reason for him not to play. Because if it was just the shot, you would at least give him a chance. You would at least say, hey, go rebound, go dunk on somebody. When Anthony Davis comes out, you bring in Kuminga and you say, just attack the basket. Try to get LeBron's going to move out of the way. LeBron has moved out of the way on every drive in this series because he doesn't want to get fouls. So he just olays all of these drives, which is probably smart because he knows how important he is minutes wise. So when Davis comes out, you just say, okay, we get a rebound. We're running. JK, you're attacking the basket. And they have not done that, which tells me that there's got to be something else. I don't know what that is. When I said those other things, it was like, here are some options.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
It's kind of a mystery. And
I personally think it's a good thing that like these guys are upset that they're not getting run. Like I think I would probably lean towards like I want them to care, and there probably is like maybe some more behind the scenes stuff that we just like don't know. I think who is it? CJ Holmes, I think the guy's name is, for the Chronicle, like came out with a story about Kuminga like just being upset about his playing time, and then Kuminga did the whole thing where he felt embarrassed, so he tweeted like, "I never said that." Like, dude, like these guys aren't just making it out of thin air.
Or what about the Instagram story you put on Twitter after the last game?
Yeah, it's still rolling with my guys. Like, dude, like I hope. Yeah, no, he's an oddball. He's a character, but I think there were a couple times in the regular season this season where it's Kuminga and Moody in the lineup at the same time. And I don't know if you do this for the playoffs because it's like pretty risky having those two young guys out there. But I don't know if you like when it was like a Kuminga Moody lineup, it just felt like they were just all over the place. They were just like these young, fresh bodies off the bench who were just flying all over the court. And I feel like they could use some of that like haphazard play to, I don't know, just outrun the Lakers even more. I think, if you try to, if we're thinking about what the adjustments are from game 4 to game 5, besides it being a home game at Chase, besides the fact that the Warriors do this thing to us where they look like poop, we think the season's over, it looks like they're back, it looks like the champs are back, advice keeps on going a whole cycle. Besides those factors, like if you start to think about what the adjustments are, like, okay, maybe Moody gets the start, but other than that, like I don't know what other adjustments like I could possibly think of besides seeing what Kuminga looks like. And if that is the adjustment, like sometimes Marcus Thompson says, like, if like if Jordan Poole not playing well is like the biggest reason why you lost, then like that says a whole lot more about you than like or what he was saying. Like, yeah, if we're like literally like I don't know what else to do besides put Jonathan Kuminga in, we are effed. But I'm sure there's something else I'm not thinking of, but I think that is a solid option because we've said it on this podcast. That guy guards LeBron well. That guy found out how to guard guards really well this year. Like, I think you have to like throw him on D'Lo, throw him on LeBron, throw him on Reeves. Those are all guys he can guard. He could guard Rui. I don't know why he's not. Yeah.
What did you think of? So not only GP starting, but it looks like he's sick as well. Like this dude threw up in his mouth
food
on the
poisoning
court.
from the Kings series. What did he eat? He went
And
to hometown buffet.
Is this the same? Is this the same illness that Looney has? Like,
is this still? I don't know. Did GP give Looney food poisoning and then Looney recovered and GP? No, I don't think that's. How
I don't even
poisoning
know if
works.
Looney recovered. They were saying that he
Yeah.
wasn't feeling great today. At least the Stan Van and the other announcer were saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I was watching so Looney gets a little bit of run in the second half, and he gets to the free throw line, and I was like, there's no way this dude's making one of these because he's not in rhythm. Doesn't have a sweat. He's playing these 5-minute spurts. And what did he get his minutes up to by the end of the game? He got up to 11. So yeah, like 2 5-minute spurts. And he gets to the line, and I was just like, he's not making them. Like, he's not a shooter, and he's not in rhythm, and he doesn't, hasn't been in the game. I feel like he's probably starting next game. Like, I feel like Steve's gonna look at that and go, yeah, we need the Looney energy. We need him to be involved. And I don't know. They don't really have an answer, which is part of the problem. Like, if there was an answer, if we had, here's what they could do, that, at least for the Kings, the answer was Wiggins will keep getting better with more reps. And Steph, Steph's gonna win this game because they don't really have anybody who can guard him outside of Mitchell. And then the Kings did not want to give up the offense on the other end by having Mitchell in the game. The Lakers don't have to make that decision because they don't guard two of the players on the court at the same time. So I guess the one move Kerr can do is he can just start Jordan and they just run that fast five offense.
You know what?
I think that's
that
the
might
move.
be. Yeah, you know what? That might be it. Yeah, damn. And I thought Bill said something interesting on his podcast, and we're in no place right now to have a say on who our next opponent is in the next round because we're down 3-1. But Bill said something like, it feels like if the Warriors had their chance to choose who they'd want from Phoenix versus the Nuggets, they'd choose Phoenix. And if the Lakers had their choice, they'd choose Nuggets. And I thought that was interesting. And I totally agreed with it. I thought that we would probably match up better against Phoenix than we would against this Denver team who,
because there would be nobody to guard Steph.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steph would just be free.
Yeah.
And Steph and Clay it would look like a lot like the last series. And I think they can play that style in that last series.
Damn, I really, and then speaking on just like it feels like Jordan Poole's gone this summer.
He's gonna be the one who gets the blame. Like,
he's the fall guy.
Even though the reason why they lost tonight is because they had guys playing minutes who they needed to score, and these guys didn't even want to shoot. The blame is going to be Jordan, and it's because of his, his attitude or whatever, or him smiling or his terrible, whatever it is. And that is a Band-Aid on the situation, because the reason why the season is the way it is because these guys are getting older and they don't have a big. And so you're constantly inconsistent with your defense when you don't have a big. And I think that's the story. So I don't know what you can do if you're Lakeup and Myers and you're looking at next year.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
think
is there a big out there? Can you trade Jordan for a big?
we were talking about before I think in the middle of the season, we were floating around Wendell Carter Jr.'s name, but it feels like Poole's value was like plummeted under
Yeah,
Wendell
you'd probably
Carter
have to
Jr.
send a pick now.
Yeah.
You'd have to
And I
send
still don't
Poole and
think
a pick.
Orlando would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's so clear that, you know, there's probably no draft pick or person on the market that you can sign that would like competently guard Anthony Davis. But it just feels like Draymond is our primary defender on Anthony Davis, and Kevon Looney is the secondary defender on Anthony Davis. And Kevon Looney just AD doesn't see him. AD does not see Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
Kevon sometimes Looney sometimes gives him the shots he was giving Sabonis, and AD is like a knockdown shooter. Or when AD rises up, he just doesn't see Looney. Similar to how like when KD rises up against anyone, he just doesn't see them. He's just too tall, and he just his wingspan's insane. I think that but I think that is something that you have to address where it's like, okay, maybe we can't get anyone a big guy that like can guard AD, but can we get a big guy who like AD sees like a secondary big man? Like there's got to be someone out there. And I mean, I have names, but I think that and also just size that can shoot the three and maybe stay on the court defensively.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to end the Warrior season before it's over here.
No, but we kind of did this against the Kings too. We were talking about.
But here's the guy.
Names.
Here's the guy that you could get, because the other thing is to play this player next to Draymond. This player also has to be able to shoot. It's somebody like Miles Turner, I think.
Yeah, he's ungettable though. He's like, yeah, for anything that the Warriors. I mean, I said Jonathan Isaac, and if you live in the Bay Area, you do not want his his ideals or political beliefs in San Francisco. But as a player, like, yeah, him and Draymond would be like the greatest defensive front court I think anyone would have ever seen. He's that good defensively. He just can't stay on the court. He just hurt. But that would be something fun.
All right. Other than Steph, is there anyone else? I mean, Steph has a triple double. 14 assists, 10 rebounds. He plays 42 minutes, 3 of 14 from 3. So rough shooting. And this was also Marcus Thompson's thought was, if the Warriors don't outright win the 3-point battle, it's going to be tough. They actually made 6 more threes than the Lakers, and they shot it better than the Lakers. But the Lakers go 20 of 20 from the free throw line, and the Warriors go 9 of 12. And some of the scoring difference is right there. But is there anybody else who played well enough? I mean, Moody and DiVincenzo played. They hit a couple shots. They played good minutes. You weren't losing. You weren't getting blown off the court when they came in. But I don't know if there's anybody else who had even a good game. Maybe Draymond, but again, then late in the game, he's more up for the butt cheek award than he is for player of the game. I think it's like literally Steph and nobody else.
Yeah, you're right. And you just hope that this is one of those, the cruddy Warriors and they look like the champs on Wednesday.
I mean, they got to win that game, right? Like the Lakers historically are mailing in game 5 so they can go home and win in game 6.
Yeah,
that's the way that they got to think about it.
You got to really hope for game 6 Clay. It's been said that game 6 Clay only works when they're down.
But here's the reason why the Lakers do want to kind of close it, because the Warriors have game 7 at home. So that would be the reason for the Lakers to be like, nope, we're not messing around. Let's finish this.
Game 1, just the Warriors messing around on game 6 against Sacramento at home. It might be like the damn reason they lost this series, just because game 1 was so easy, not easy for the Lakers, but just so gettable for the Lakers against the Warriors at home, just because they messed around in game 6 and didn't have as much rest going into game 1. Like that's tough. I mean, we said it, and it's like, okay, like, it seems like everyone is under the impression that this is about to happen, that the Lakers are about to steal game 1. It's like, okay, then let's hope we're all wrong. One of those, and
The
you're
other
all right.
note that I had that I forgot to mention, but I wanted to mention it here is this was the game to get because they played Davis really smart in making him come out. And by the fourth quarter, he was so tired. He didn't do anything in the fourth quarter, really. I think that's also probably why LeBron decided to take over, is because he saw that Davis really didn't have his legs. But the announcers were like, "Oh yeah, get Davis out there," and Darvin Ham's like, "Yeah, we're fine with Davis out there." And I was like, "No, keep putting him out there because come fourth quarter, he's going to be so tired." And he was, and they still couldn't take advantage of it. This was really the game to win, and I imagine they're going to do a lot of the same thing in Game 5. They're just going to try and put him in stuff. And I wonder if you could do. Obviously, it's Steph. He's going to pay attention to Steph more than anybody else. But I wonder if you can do the same thing with Jordan, and maybe that helps him, kind of get going, because he was pretty good in. I think it was Game 2. Moving the ball around, like not shooting, but like passing, making really good passes, and they were getting him in action. So maybe you do the same thing, whether it's Steph or Jordan, you just go after whoever's, it's just Wiggins in the pick and roll, and just attack Davis with both guys, and maybe that kind of gets Jordan going a little bit. But I don't know. That was last thing. Okay, last note here. They had a whole butt cheek last second quarter of this game, or last 2 minutes of this game. So the inbounds pass, the ATO, Draymond decides not to shoot, throws it away. And then they get lucky because for whatever reason, Anthony Davis decides to hold the ball in the corner
It
for a
wasn't
jump
even a
ball.
jump ball. I think they fouled him. I think the refs just were like, "We screwed you guys over in game 1 by not giving you that jump ball, so we're gonna give you this one." And Wiggins got to take the jump. Wiggins was behind him, bear hugging him.
It looked
Like
like
that was an
Clay. Yeah, it
obvious.
looked
It
like
should have
Clay
been
was
Clay
the
doing
one.
the jump. But yeah, like to your point, Steph gets the jump ball. He moves early too. That was illegal. You can't move before the ball is thrown up in the air. He jumps high, the highest I've ever seen Steph jump in his life, and he catches the ball and he just lands kind of uncomfortably, so he falls. And the Warriors don't call a timeout like that entire time. Steph doesn't call a timeout either. He just nonchalantly throws it over his head, thinking, Moody's right there. It's like, no, Moody's trying to be right there for you to hand it to him.
Was that the same invisible GP2 that Draymond tried to
Yeah,
pass it to?
that invisible GP2, man. He's
Look, this is why you lose games and you lose series, is that one team plays better down the stretch. One team looks like the better team down the stretch, and that was the Lakers. Like, that's literally why you just want LeBron and AD to be healthy going into the playoffs, because it's like, even if LeBron is not the LeBron from 15 to 18, right? Like that was a great LeBron. This is a different LeBron, but he's still such a smart basketball player, and he makes winning plays even if he's not scoring the basketball. But like, it's like those moments where you're like, one team looks like they're in control. The other team, who just won the title last year, looks like they're flailing and they're urgent, and they're they're in a rush and they're in a hurry or whatever. So
yeah, I think it just blows my mind that Lonnie Walker had that type of fourth quarter that
he is
it
the
feels like
opposite. He is the opposite of what this award goes to.
exactly it's just that type of fourth quarter in that type of moment is literally what superstars do. Like Devin Booker would do that, and it just doesn't feel like it's if Terrence Davis from last series like did that to us on game 7. It's like, wow, we really just lost because of Terrence Davis. That's the same thing. We literally just lost like the most important game because of Lonnie Walker. It doesn't sit right.
That's what Jordan's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
That's why you paid him is that, because that's his role, is to get buckets when they can't get buckets. All right. I think that'll be it from here. So Wednesday in San Francisco, and then possibly Friday. We're going to be in Arizona on Friday. So we'll sort of figure out.
I'm going to be in Arizona tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be in Arizona tomorrow, too. We'll sort of figure out what we can do. I have a recorder that I can use in Arizona if we need to do a quick audio. It won't be on video, but we could at least put a podcast up. But so the only thing we can hope for is that the Warriors win the next two. Game 7 would be on Sunday. Actually,
Oh my God, am I gonna be on a flight?
that's what I was just thinking.
That's crazy if that's the case.
I wonder if they even have the time of the game yet.
No, they don't.
They don't. Yeah, you're right. They don't.
They don't even have it for Game 6.
Yeah, it's TBD.
Yeah.
That's crazy if we're gonna be on a flight.
Well,
home.
you know what Sunday will be? It'll be 12:30. That would be the start time. That's
You
their
think?
prime time start time. That's their prime time start time for 12 for Sunday games. That's their most rating start time. That's what Kings Game 4, the one that we went to at Chase, was a 12:30 start time.
You know, so my flight back home is at 2:40, and I think we have a stop.
Oh, disgusting. I gotta look at, oh man. It's totally, if there is a Game 7, I will bet my bottom dollar it's at 12:30 on Sunday.
Oh well. We can only hope. I'm fine. If I gotta be on a flight for them to get to Game 7, I'll do it. I'll
Yeah.
take one for the team.
Yeah.
I won't throw the ball out of bounds in that moment. I'll just be like, that's just how it is. All right, so we'll figure out a time to be back, but that is it. Game 4, Warriors lose. They're down 3-1 in the series, and they're really going to have to suck it up here and find whatever it is. Find that reason. Find whatever the feeling is for them to, why do they play basketball? Well, it's for this reason. That's what they got to find for Wednesday. But yeah, so for Bri, I am Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.